Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Chachadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to all you Archeum who be pushing this word around the globe in faith and in sincerity. We are the real Hebrew Israelites, the real Israelites who so called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans, so on and so forth. We are the true descendants of the man in the Bible who was named Israel. Not the people who are currently occupying the land of Israel, calling themselves Israeli or Jews, you know. So, because your nationality is determined by your seed line. So basically, you are the nationality of who your father was. It doesn't go by the line of your mother; it goes by who your father was. But you're also going to have what's known as Israelite foreigners who may look like the other nations, but if their seed line goes back through the line of their father to the man in the Bible named Israel, then they too are Israelites, no matter what they look like. If you'd like to know more about the nations which come under the 12 tribes of Israel, just Google GMS 12 tribes sign. So in today's lesson, I was just reading the book of Job again, going over it, and I noticed something in it which I hadn't really thought about before, so I thought it would be perhaps edifying if I did a lesson on it. So basically, I'm going to start off by reading Job chapter 4 and verse 7, and it says, now this is one that I read a lot. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off. So basically what Job is saying is that everybody who dies deserves to die, basically, because as we know, the Bible teaches reincarnation if you can receive it. And what happens is when you die, your body goes up to the spirit realm. It rests for a time, but you get your judgment from Yahweh, who is the true name of the God of the Bible. And what happens is you, through the past, after a certain amount of time, you're born again on the earth in your lot, which is in your nation. So basically, if you're an Elamite, you're always going to be an Elamite. If you're a Moabite, so I should clear this up. Elamite is the East Indians. If you're a Moabite, which is a so-called Chinese, you're always going to come back as a so-called Chinese person. If you're an Ammonite, which is a so-called Japanese, you're always going to come back as a Japanese person. If you're a Cushite, which is what today would be called an Ethiopian, you're always going to come back as a Cushite, so on and so forth. And likewise, if you're an Israelite, you're always going to come back as an Israelite. So basically, the point is that we've all sinned and we've all done things which are worthy of death. For example, there's an account in the scriptures where there's a man who was picking up sticks on a Sabbath. Now, something as simple as or trivial as just picking up a stick, this man was put to death for it, because we're not supposed to do any work on the Sabbath. Yeah, obviously we can't keep those laws in this kingdom because we're currently in captivity under Esau, Edom. But in the kingdom of heaven, all of the laws, all of the 613 laws, statutes, and commandments are going to be kept perfectly, because we're going to be given new bodies, and within those new bodies, there's not going to be no sin, at least for the nation of Israel, which is why it's going to be the kingdom of heaven for us. But for the heathen nations, they're going to be under the curse of the law, and they're going to have to keep it to the best of their ability. So they're going to be kind of in a situation that we're in right now, where we want to keep the law, but because our flesh is corrupt and there's wickedness in us, we can't keep the law 100% perfectly at this time. So the point of what I'm saying is that Job 4 and 7 says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off. Now that is a very powerful thing for Job to have said, because if you remember, then you go back to Job chapter 1. Job is saying this after his 7 children were put to death. Yeah? So, let me get it. Let me start off with Job chapter 1 and 4. It says, and his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters, who did to eat and drink with them. Yeah, so Job's 4 sons and 3 sisters used to eat and drink together. And in verse 5 it says, "And it was so when the days of their feasting was gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. So basically Job was he was trying to be preemptive in the sense that he always worried that maybe his sons or his daughters had cursed Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai inwardly in their hearts. So that's why Job was offering these sacrifices to atone for their sins, just in case they had done that, such a thing. Now let me go further on in the story, in the account. Basically, Yahweh says to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job?" And Satan says unto Yahweh, "Have you not put a hedge around him and all that he has?" So Yahweh makes a deal with Satan where Satan can come against Job and touch everything that Job has, except not to take away his life. And this is what happened, yeah? So let me start from verse 12. Job 1 and 12, it says, "And Yahweh said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house." Now I just want to bring something up. The other day when we was at camp, a Muslim came up and he was asking questions as to whether or not drinking wine was lawful or not in the scriptures. And yes, drinking wine is lawful. It's not a sin to drink wine. Noah drank wine. Yahushua drank wine. And in Job 1 and 13 it says that Job's sons and daughters drank wine. Now obviously you're not supposed to do it to excess where you're, staggering around in the street in your own vomit day in, day out. You're not supposed to be drinking like that. But the scriptures do say it is lawful to actually drink wine. Although personally I don't drink wine because it doesn't agree with me, but that's just me personally. So continuing on in this story, it says there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were ploughing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The fire of Yahweh is fallen from heaven, and have burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. And while he was yet speaking, there came another also, and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Now this is the point I want to make. In verse 18 it says, While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So basically what happened is Job's sons and daughters were in the eldest son's house, and they were eating and drinking, probably having a good time in their partying or whatever, and the wind came and it smote the house, and the house fell upon them, and their children died. Job's children died. I should say Job's sons and daughters died. And then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, Naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return thither. And Yahweh gave, and Yahweh taketh away, and blessed be the name of Yahweh. For in this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Now this is a beautiful point, because what happens a lot of times when you try and tell people about the truth of the scriptures and about the God of the Bible and Yahushua, a lot of people don't want to hear it, and they turn around and say, oh well, if how can there be a God? Because if there's a God, why did my granddad die, or why did my uncle die, or why did my sister die, or why did my son die, or why did my daughter die? These people don't understand Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And they're quick to curse Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai over the most trivialist of matters. For example, you might have a man and he's got a wife and a daughter or a son, and his wife leaves him, and then he turns to say, "Oh well, if there's a God, why did my wife leave me? Why did he do this to me?" Or they say, "Oh, why did my grandma die?" and all this kind of shit. Yeah, and they are angry at Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai without understanding Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So out of their ignorance, they speak these bold, proud statements saying, "Oh, I don't believe in a God because," or another one is that if there was a God and he did love us, why did we go into slavery? That's what some Israelites would say, Well, if God loved us so much, why did he put us in slavery and all this kind of stuff? And then they'll turn around and say the Bible is a white man's book and all other kinds of madness. But my point is this. We've all done things that are worthy of death. And Job 4, and was it Job 4 and 7 I was reading? When I opened up, yeah, it was. It says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or wherever the righteous cut off." So basically, what you've got to understand is that we are all worthy of death. And right now, as Israelites, we're living under grace because, Yahweh has not brought out that judgment of death against us, even though we're all worthy of it. And it's only through grace and the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai that we have hope of redemption, because Yahweh Shai's blood has paid for a lot of our transgressions. Speaking of the elect, if you of the 2/3 or any of the other nations, you're not covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai. So this is why we need to be humble and pray and repent and know that we are all worthy of the judgment of death. But that's not a reason to curse Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. And that's what the elect don't do, which is a spiritual thing, because this isn't a thing of like, this is by election. It's not by anything that we've done. The scriptures, is it John 15:16 says, "I have chosen you, you have not chosen me." Let me see if I could find that, John 15:16. Yes, this is right. These are the words of Yahweh Shai. Yeah. Let me read from John 15:15. It says, "Henceforth I call you not servants, for servants knoweth not what the Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you." And this is the point. It says, "Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go forth and bring fruit, and that your fruit should remain, and that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you." Now basically, I'm going to jump down to verse 18. It says, no, just going to go down to verse 17. "These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love its own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you." So basically what I'm saying is that, we haven't chosen Yahweh Shai, he's chosen us. And therefore this is why we have this spirit not to curse Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, because the elect are they're ordained for salvation, and they're going to come to this knowledge, wisdom and understanding. But jumping back to Job chapter 4 and verse 7, what you've got to remember is when he's saying, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished be innocent, or wherever the righteous cut off." This is a man who's just witnessed, who's experienced all of his children being put to death, and yet he's still not cursing Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And that's the whole point of the story of Job, that Job was tested, but he retained his integrity, because his wife said unto him, in verse 2, Job 2 and 9, this is what his wife said unto him after the children were dead and everything. Then said his wife unto him, "Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse Yahweh and die." But he said unto her, "Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and shall not receive evil. In all this did Job not sin with his lips. So that's a beautiful point, and I've read this book of Job a number of times, but this is the first time it really clicked with me, and I thought, hang on a minute, this guy has just seen all his children die, and he's still saying, whoever perish being innocent, or where are the righteous cut off. Whereas people in this kingdom, in this society, they're quick to curse Yahweh. I mean, I see people saying all kinds of madness, like, oh, holy shit, or holy piss, or, all this kind of crap. I've seen people saying, blaspheming the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, and it's like, or another good example I'm going to bring out is that stupid show called South Park. I've always hated that show, but if you remember in that show, like every week that character Kenny would be killed off, and you'd have the character Cartman saying, "Oh my God, you killed Kenny, you bastard." So basically what he was essentially saying is that Yahweh is a bastard because he killed his friend Kenny. And every week they were blaspheming the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by saying this, and people become so desensitized to, like, people don't even think about the gravity of what is being said in that show. People just think, oh, it's just a joke, it's just comedy. But no, it's not comedy, it's intentional, because that show is put out there to make people, have this blasphemous spirit about them. So where they'll curse out the Most High at the drop of a hat. But the scriptures say, every man shall give an account, every idle word man speak. Let me get that. This is Matthew 12 and 36. This is Yahushua speaking again, as you can see it's in the red. And it says, "But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment." So that's beautiful. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Yep, I'm going to read that one more time, because this is a powerful precept and a powerful point. This is Matthew 12 and 36. It says, "But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words shalt thou be justified, and by thy words shalt thou be condemned." So, yeah, that's the whole point I wanted to make. Job sinned not with his lips. I'm going to read this one more time. Job 2 and 9. "And then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one as the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips." So I've made the point, and it's a beautiful point, and I just wanted to bring it out. So the Lord willing, that has been edifying, and with that I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to all you Archim who be pushing this truth around the world in faith and in sincerity. And until the next time we're able to do a lesson, Lord willing, I say shalom.